Hello everybody. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make a really cool security system. So I'm going to give you a quick demo here real quick of how this is done. So I'm going to add in some remote players and I'm going to become staff. I can then dynamically add and remove people from the staff list, as you can see. I can remove myself as well and become staff again. It's all very simple conditions on how you can become staff. You can become staff here so long as you are a patron. There's no staff already, and you are already staff yourself. These little panels here get dynamically added and removed every time a player joins or leaves, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, I mean, that's just the general gist of it. This could be very useful for a lot of things. You can hook it up with some buttons or game objects and stuff to make sure that the person interacting with it is actually staff. So, for example, in my instance, I'll be using this in my club world to access the gate so that staff can be the only ones that can turn that object on or off and only be able to access the staff teleport. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to set up the UI. I'll give you a very brief breakdown of how the scripts work, and I'll show you how to use a staff teleport as well at the end. So let's get straight into it. So setting up the UI for this, it is a good chunk of work. Just let me get that set up real quick here. All right, let's begin the setup for the UI here. So first things first, I'm actually just going to go on ahead and toggle this off. And I'm going to delete this as well. So just follow through and just keep in mind that things may look a little different for you, but we'll make it work. So first thing we need to do is create our canvas. Right? We're going to turn on gizmos. I'm going to go right ahead and change this to default. We're going to change this to world space. And I'm going to add in the UI shape to this so that it can be interacted with for raycasts. Now we just need to scale this down and kind of bring it to where we want it to be. Next up, I'm going to go on ahead and add a panel here, so I can see things a little bit more easier. I'll just change this to black, increase the value here. Now I'm going to shape this out. Like so. Oh, not the panel. Canvas right here. Like so. Now we can see a little more nicer. Okay. Next up, we're going to add in a scroll view. So we're going to right click, create UI, scroll view. We're going to scale this out too, make it a bit more bigger. That should be okay for this instance. Okay, so there's a lot of settings and stuff that we need to tweak. So there isn't much of a particular order that we need to do. So let's just kind of jump right into it. You're going to notice as I open this up here, there's a couple different things and components that we need to look at. We're going to click this content right here. We're going to right click, create UI image. This is going to be our player panel. So let's go on ahead and rename that. Like so. Now, for the content, we're going to go and click that. We're going to add a vertical group layout, just like that. We're going to go on ahead and check off this box here. You're going to probably see it looking like this when you first add the component. You just need to open the padding. We're going to do 10 for each one here, like so, to get some nice decent spacing. There we go. Next up, we're going to add in a content size fitter, just like that. And for the vertical fit, we're going to set it to min size. Now we can mess with the height of this box here so it looks a little more nicer. I'm going to do, let's do 40. And if that doesn't quite suit what you want, you can also just use the scaling tool to help you out a little bit too. Just like this. As long as you keep it within the constraints there, you should be okay. All right, that's looking good. Let's head on over to our scroll view real quick. And you see right here where it says movement type, we're going to change that to clamped. There we go. Now let's see, there's still a lot to do here. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's go to the vertical scroll bar. We're going to change the navigation to none. This is very important, so it doesn't have any interference from player controllers. We're going to go on ahead now and change the vertical thing here. Yeah, sorry. First, we actually need to delete the horizontal scroll bar. Then we're going to click our vertical one here and see where it says bottom. We're going to change that from 17 to 0. As you can see, this now kind of fills out the entire thing. It's just a lot more cleaner that way. Okay. Let's just kind of take a quick look, make sure we got everything we need. That's both 1. That's great. If for whatever reason the size isn't 1, just adjust that to be 1. Awesome. I'm just kind of going through and making sure I got everything for you. Okay, let's try customizing our player panel a little bit. So let's go on ahead and create a text field for this. Just like so. We're going to change that to black so we can actually see it. I'm going to scale that down. I'm actually going to change the alignment to be in the middle. Just like that, because it looks a little more clean. Make sure you increase the size here so you can fit more. I'm putting in player name as a filler for now. I'm probably going to decrease the font size just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that should be good. We're going to rename this as well to player display name. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and create another UI image. This is going to be our staff indicator. So I'm going to kind of bring that down a little bit more. Right about here should be good. We're going to change the sprite. For my instance, I'm just going to do a little check mark. So this will be toggled on whenever a player is staff. There we go. Now we're going to add in 2 buttons. There we go. We're going to scale that one down. Maybe a little bit smaller. Okay. We're going to call this one add to staff. I'm going to quickly duplicate it. We're going to call the next one remove from staff. There we go. Now we just got to actually update the text to say the same thing. I'm changing it to bold and 20. Your sizing may depend, like it might be different from mine. So I can see here that it's a little too big still, but I'm going to just grab both of the buttons. I'm just going to scale it out just a little bit on both sides here, so that they're both the same size. Okay. That's good. Now I'm actually going to add one more button, but I'm going to add this directly to the canvas. Right here. This is going to be our become staff button. There we go. I'm going to turn this off so it's a little more easier to see. There we go. That should work. Great. Now we just have to add in a couple of scripts to these guys here. So for both our add, well, not these buttons in particular, sorry. To our player panel, we need to add two things. First, we need to add in the player list UI. Then we need to add in a player object, because this will be getting instantiated for each player. There we go. So now we're going to go on ahead and assign these guys, and we're going to create our player list handler. So let's actually do that now. We're going to go create empty, name it player list handler. We're going to drag and drop our script onto there. All you need to do here is put in the names of the people that you want to have access to the Become Staff button. So basically your patrons, or whatever way you want to do it. It's totally customizable. And that's it for the setup for that. Now we'll go to our player panel. I'm going to click this little button right here. It's going to show us our player list handler. We're going to do that. Now we just got to fill out these guys here. So our name display, we're going to drag and drop our player display there. Same thing with our staff display. We're going to put in our add button right here and our remove button as well. So now that's all set up. That's great. Now we need to actually set up the logic of our buttons to make sure that they're setting the right events. Okay. Let's get started with that. So we're going to click the little plus button right here. And we're going to drag the player panel directly into where it says none object. We're going to change no function to send custom event, like so. Now I'm going to single click add the staff, and we're going to add the event called add to staff, just like that. And we're going to do remove from staff. And for our become staff button, this one's a little different. We need to actually put in the player list handler instead. Change it to the event string, and we'll put become staff. Okay, now I'm going to show you why that's important. I'm going to pull up this script here real quick. So for become staff, we're running this event right here. Essentially what it's going to do is it's going to clean up any entries, basically check to make sure there's nothing wrong with our database. And it's going to check to see if there's already staff. If there is, you can't continue. If there isn't, go on ahead. It's going to check to see if you are a part of the staff or not. If you are, then you're not allowed to do this. And it's going to do a final check to see if your name is a part of the list. If it is, then you will become the owner of the object, and you'll add yourself to the list and inform everyone else about the changes. So before I go on ahead and break down all this code here, I'm just going to go over here real quick and show you what's going on here. So remember before how we're adding the player list UI, we're contacting it and saying add to staff, remove from staff. We're contacting it to do both of these methods, which is going to head on over into the player list. And it should be right about here. It's going to do something very similar to the become staff logic, where it's going to check to see if you aren't already staff. It's going to check to make sure you're staff in order to add other staff as well. So just to kind of clarify with that, not just anyone can make someone staff. You need to be staff first in order to make or remove other staff members. Same thing applies to the remove from staff logic. Now, we're going to do a little quick test to make sure I set this up correctly. And if I didn't, then we'll kind of fix it on the fly here. So let's do a little check. And if everything goes all well and as expected, then we can do the code breakdown. So we actually turned off the buttons because I forgot to, but that's good. That's what it's supposed to look like. So right now I'm just a normal member. I'm not staff, so I'm not supposed to see the buttons. I just see this. So let's go on ahead and add some players. I'm going to attempt to become staff, and it succeeded. So now you can see the check mark there. I can now add and remove other staff members. My text seems to be a little bit too big, so it's kind of overlapping there. So it's important that we reduce the text size next time. But as you can see, I can still remove them from staff as intended. Oh, there we go. For a moment, I thought I couldn't do it. But no, it's working. That's great. So at this point, if you wanted to just do the easy route, all you gotta do is follow this part of the video where you just set up the UI, plug in the scripts, and away you go. The scripts are going to be provided in the description, probably through either a Discord link or some sort of link to a text file. I'll figure it out. Just check the description. And yeah, you'll just copy the scripts, insert them into your project, and then follow this video on how to actually set it up, like so. Right, now if you're more interested on how this stuff actually works, this is the part you need to stick around for. Now, I'm going to give you a little disclaimer right off the start. I did not make this system alone. I actually had the help from a couple other people. A little bit of history about this. I spent around a week trying to make a different system. It was involving arrows instead. It was a completely different way of doing it, but still had the general core aspect of using data lists. But it wasn't working out for me. And the person who was helping me during that time frame was called LEGOS. He's an awesome guy. He helped me so much over the course of that entire week. And when we hit that roadblock, PhaseDragon jumped in and he helped me for over 4 hours straight. He helped me rebuild the entire system from scratch, but while keeping the core stuff from it. And voila, after some trial and error and a long time, we actually managed to make it work. And I thought that it would be great if I could make a video and show the community on how to make this as well, because as far as I'm aware, there isn't any videos or tutorials on how to do something like this. So here's my way of saying thank you to the community for helping me out. So let's get into it. Another little disclaimer is I am not the most knowledgeable about everything that goes into this. I'll try my absolute best to explain it from my understanding, but that might be incorrect. So please keep that in mind. The first thing you need to know is that data lists cannot be synced normally. We're actually using a JSON string to sync the information from the staff list. The player list UI data list isn't actually kind of being synced. I mean, it is, but it's a little weird. But let's just kind of continue. Right off the start, we're caching a reference to the local player so we can use that. This right here is the part that adds and removes panels based on if players are joining or leaving, like the player objects. So this is pretty much just adding it to that data list right there. We're just saying, hey, this panel now exists and this one doesn't exist. Broadcast to panel is basically our little handler for sending out information. We actually usually send an event called draw UI through this event, and it will contact all the panels and tell it to update accordingly. On pre-serialization is basically packing up that information from the data list and putting into a string. Cleanup entries goes through the database of the staff list and checks to make sure there isn't any invalid IDs or anything. If there is, it will remove them. Okay. Add to staff will, I kind of had it briefly mentioned before. It's going to run the cleanup entries, and then it's going to check to see if your staff, if you're already a part of the staff list and all that lovely stuff. It's going to broadcast to the panels to update it, and we're going to request serialization so it updates for everyone else. Same thing applies to remove from staff. In on deserialization, we are unpacking that information from the list and reconstructing it on each player's end. So that way they have an updated version of the staff list. And then we're going to let them know to update their panels locally. We have a public bool called isStaff. This is great for checking in other scripts to see if a person is a part of the staff list or not. Then the become staff is basically very similar to add staff. It just has that extra condition and a few flipped kind of values just to make sure that, you know, you can actually do what you're trying to do. In the player list UI here, this is entirely handling the UI as you would expect. So on start, we're just kind of adding this stuff. Like we're basically getting it all set up. We're making sure that we disable the staff display. We're making sure that the player list handler is all set up. Like we're adding this game object in. We're initially setting up our UI to kind of just say, hey, let's update everything. On destroy, we'll make sure this panel gets removed and destroyed whenever we leave. Draw UI will take the it's actually really interesting. So since we're using player objects, ownership doesn't actually get transferred to anyone else. We will always be the sole owner of the panel because it's a player object. So we're getting the owner of the panel and grabbing their display name and then updating that text accordingly. And then basically what this logic is doing here is basically saying if we have added staff, then we're going to turn off the add staff button and turn on the remove staff button and vice versa. They're basically going to flip states depending on if the person is staff or not. If you're not staff, it's just going to turn off both buttons by default, so you can't even interact with them to start with. Then we have our add to staff, remove to staff, so we're just going to contact the player list handler and say that, hey, let's get the owner of that object, like this object here, and we're going to add the owner of this object to that staff list, which is another really nice way of using the player object, because we don't need to like cycle through and find people. We already know who we're adding because we're getting the owner of the panel, which never changes. So that's really awesome, and that's all PhaseDragon right there. Very smart guy. Next up is the staff teleport. We're just caching a reference to the networking local player. And this is very, very simple script. We have a reference to our player list handler, and all we need to do is say if the player list.handler is staff, if it's true that this networking local player is staff, then go on ahead and proceed and call the teleport method, which is just going to teleport them to the location that they need to go to. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You can easily change this to something else like toggle a game object, or I don't know, play some particles, whatever it is that you're looking for. I hope this video was helpful to you. I'm going to provide as much information and resources as I can in the description of the video. If there's anything inaccurate, if something goes wrong, please let me know. I'm kind of just recording this video on the fly. I have not made a video in like 8 months, so I apologize if I'm stuttering or messing up. Thank you for being patient, and I hope this video helps you out. And if it did, please feel free to leave a like and share it with other people so that we can let everyone else know and they can get the help that they need if they're trying to do the same thing. But otherwise, have a great day, and thank you for watching, and best of luck.